Gotham City Sirens continues with Part 2, Riddle Me This. What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Comic History, the weekly series where I go over the epic origins and storylines in the world of comics. This week we're continuing on with our series on Gotham City Sirens, the 2009 villain team-up book shortly after Final Crisis but before the New 52 relaunch that saw Gotham City's deadliest female villains, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman, form a supervillain group and does some really fun stuff with Batman's Rogues Gallery. If you want to find out how the Gotham City Sirens got together, go check out our episode on the first part of this series. In this video, we're going to be talking about the story that appears in issue number 3 of Gotham City Sirens, weirdly enough, because in issue number 2, the Harley vs. Hush storyline is started up, then continued on in issue number 4 and leads into the next little arc. So I thought it would be best to keep that all in one video. This story follows the recently reformed Riddler, aka Edward Nygma, who we've already seen appear in Gotham City Sirens Part 1. At this point, the Riddler has ditched his supervillain persona in favor of an attempt at a reformed and honest life as Edward Nygma, private detective, with a focus on solving unsolvable crimes. The book opens with the thoughts of Dick Grayson, first Robin, eventual Nightwing, and current, at this time, Batman, thinking to himself about the past exploits of the Riddler, and how even though he claims his heart is now in the right place, his mind is still a little off. Meanwhile, Nygma has been lying in a homemade mock-up of the crime scene he's investigating, analyzing evidence from 2 seemingly unrelated suicides, and snapping his fingers when he realizes the connection. Riddler is so absorbed in his work that he completely ignores Catwoman and Poison Ivy, who had shown up to his office to ask for help finding Harley, who had found herself unwittingly in the clutches of Hush, who is currently at this time masquerading as Bruce Wayne after the death of Batman in Final Crisis. We're going to cover how that happened and where that storyline goes in Gotham City Sirens Harley vs. Hush in Part 3 of this series. When Poison Ivy threatens to kill Riddler, Catwoman stops her and asks if he remembers that Harley is supposed to be his friend, and Riddler says that what he remembers is that Harley teeters on the edge of sanity. Poison Ivy recently kidnapped him and took over his apartment for weeks, and Catwoman did nothing to stop them. The girls storm out with Poison Ivy threatening Riddler again on her way out. Riddler goes about his day, cracking the case and grabbing a shower and a shave while thinking about how he'd matched wits with the best, Batman, and always left a clue before each crime. These staged suicides, however, were performed by a serial killer who had been cryptically leaving clues to their next murder on the bodies of those killed. And Riddler says he's good, but he's got a lot to learn, and that he can do that when Riddler locks him away in Arkham Asylum. Nygma holds a press conference and tells the media that there's a new serial killer out there, making fun of the GCPD for not being smart enough to see it. A streetlight suddenly explodes, distracting the reporters while Riddler is grabbed and swung up onto a gargoyle by Batman, who again at this point is Dick Grayson. Riddler notices almost immediately that this isn't the actual Batman. His build, voice, attitude, all of it was a really good performance, but just off enough for someone as intelligent as the Riddler to catch. He decides to not let on that he knows, playing along to see how long it takes for this new Batman to out himself. Riddler tests him with information from the murders, and Dick is prepared each time, matching the detective skills of Batman with help from Alfred and the Bat Computer, noting that Tim Drake was always better at this detective stuff than he was. They go over the murders, noting small details about each one that end up with them figuring out the location, time, and target for the next one, and Batman disappears in the middle of Riddler's sentence, which Nygma thinks is less impressive than it looks. Grayson sends Nygma to watch after the twin sister of the next target, believing that this serial killer may be trying to step their game up with each murder. And though Nygma knows it's an attempt to sideline him on a babysitting job, he goes along with it, knowing that it will help the reputation of his new detective agency either way. Riddler appears to the girl from the shadows, tipping his hat to flirt with her, and when she leaps for a gun, he grabs it from her hand with his cane, saying that's no way to welcome a man who's there to save her life. She says that she knows he's a supervillain, pointing to a picture of him next to the Joker and the Penguin, and Nygma looks down, saying that that's an old picture. The phone rings and Nygma picks it up, greeting Batman, who says that he's caught 3 people trying to kill the other sister, but that they hadn't talked yet. Riddler prepares to leave, politely bidding Angela adieu before the lights and power to the building suddenly shut off. Riddler's mind races, picking apart the clues for what he missed, and realizes that the location of the last murder indicated 2 numbers, meaning 2 murders at 2 times, 6 minutes after the first. Realizing what this means, Riddler tackles Angela out of the way of an explosion as the wall gets blasted in, with a team of 3 killers dressed in green suits with a not-so-subtle influence from the Riddler coming inside, with the leader, a woman calling herself Conundrum, saying that this is time to the second, and ordering the others to plant the clues so they can leave. Riddler dispatches one silently with his cane and smashes another one in the face with a giant picture book, knocking him out as Conundrum grabs the girl by the hair and points a gun at her. She says that Riddler was her idol, and he asks if he can guess her origin. She was a police science major who admired Riddler from case studies used as teaching material, and upon learning of his rehabilitation, decided to fill the void in crime herself. Conundrum is amazed at the Riddler, saying that she's genuinely sorry she has to kill him, and he tells her that she shouldn't do that because with his new rehabilitation comes an alliance with Batman, and claims that Batman gave him a new cane with a GPS beacon in the question mark. Dick Grayson follows an actual GPS beacon from Riddler's cane, showing up and knocking out Conundrum, with Riddler saying that he was only stalling for time. And wait a second, did Batman actually put a GPS beacon in his cane? Dick says of course not, claiming to have figured out the clues at the crime scene. Later on, Nygma takes Angela out for dinner, and Batman watched from outside the restaurant, just to verify that he was completely legit. Nygma washes his hands in the bathroom, thinking to himself about his new rehabilitated life, and that he understands why Batman would want to verify his honesty, thinking that he used to be a very bad person. The thought is interrupted by the television in the restaurant, airing footage of Harley out with Bruce Wayne, who again is actually the villain Hush, and unable to finish his thought, calls Selina Kyle and tells her to turn on the TV. And that wraps up Gotham City Sirens Part 2, Riddle Me This. It's a short story contained in the middle of the Harley Hush story, but it was so fun and perfect for the Riddler's character that I wanted to make sure I covered it. Gotham City Sirens was an incredible series. It's a must-read for any Batman fans, and goes into the daily lives of Gotham City's villains more than any series before it. Gotham City Sirens will continue in Harley vs. Hush, so if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, make sure to leave a comment, hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe to my channel. I do weekly content multiple days a week, from comic history, character spotlight, and origin videos, to comic rants, reviews, DIY and cosplay videos, and more. If you would like to support us and help me make more and bigger history videos, you can donate using our Patreon at patreon.com/rnsentertainment, and you can even commission any episode of comic history you'd like to see. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Roman_RNS, like us on Facebook, subscribe to my gaming channel RNS Gaming, and take it easy guys.